Welcome to this explainer. Imagine we're sitting together in a quiet mountain lodge for a leadership retreat, totally insulated from the daily grind. We're here for an executive briefing to fundamentally elevate the craft of human relations and professional presence in high-stakes environments. Today, we're taking a really deep look into professional humility, what it is, what it absolutely isn't, and how it acts as this unseen operational engine behind high-trust, high-performing teams.
So let's jump right in with a critical question. What actually happens when the pressure is on, egos start clashing, and accurate information flow suddenly becomes a matter of professional survival? We all know that interpersonal complexity just skyrockets when distinct perspectives collide in a boardroom. The true test of your leadership isn't just about managing a project, right? It's about how you manage that friction.
We're going to break this complex topic down systematically today. We'll cover 1. When distinct perspectives collide. 2. Redefining professional humility. 3. The ego protection loop. 4. The humble conversation. 5. Authority without ego. And finally, 6. Building a trust culture. Let's get to it.
Starting with Section 1, when distinct perspectives collide, and the information algorithm. Let's look at how human behavior actually dictates what information you get to see as a leader.
This is a pretty fascinating way to think about team dynamics. It's actually a lot like a social media algorithm. Think about how Facebook or Instagram works. It looks at all the available content, or the inventory, right? Then it evaluates your interaction signals, uses those to make predictions about what you're going to like, and assigns a relevance score to feed you specific posts. Well, your team works exactly the same way. They are constantly reading your leadership signals to predict if it's actually safe to share the inventory of their honest ideas with you. If you're sending out defensive signals, their internal algorithm predicts a bad interaction, and bam, that crucial information gets buried.
And the outcomes of these two algorithms are just drastically different. A low-humility leader creates an environment of total information poverty. In those rooms, silence might look like alignment, but it's really just fear. Bad news is hidden until it blows up. On the flip side, high humility keeps critical data moving upward. Risk is shared, and the alignment you're seeing is actually genuine. Basically, humility keeps the information flowing.
Moving on to Section 2, Redefining Professional Humility. This is a total paradigm shift. We have to completely scrap what we usually think of when we hear the word humility at work, because it's way too often misunderstood as just a soft skill or, worse, a sign of weakness.
This quote right here absolutely destroys the myth of self-erasure. Humility is not making yourself smaller. It is becoming secure enough that you no longer need to make yourself bigger. Think about that for a second. Healthy humility allows your confidence, your competence, and your ambition to exist without needing to push someone else down. You don't have to surrender your perspective just to make room for someone else's.
Picture a spectrum. On one far end, you have insecurity. That's the voice saying, "Oh, I shouldn't speak. Everyone here knows more than I do." Then, on the complete opposite end, you've got arrogance, which says, "Only I should speak. I already know everything." Let's be real. We have all been in meetings with both of these people. True professional humility sits perfectly in the middle. It's having an accurate view of yourself, knowing exactly what you know and what you don't, while staying completely open to the dignity and the contributions of the people around you.
All right, Section 3, the ego protection loop. Because hey, humility is super easy when everyone agrees with us, right? The real test is what happens under pressure. When your competence or your authority gets challenged, this automatic ego protection loop fires up. First, there's a trigger, like maybe an employee questions a decision you just made. Your immediate interpretation might be, "Wow, they don't respect me." That flips the switch into protection mode, leading to a behavior where you maybe get overly directive or just shut the whole conversation down. The impact on the team? You've just unintentionally taught them that honesty is dangerous, and the flow of information stops dead in its tracks. So how do we short-circuit that defensive loop? You have to lead with grounded self-trust. First, you notice the trigger. Recognize that something just flared up inside you. Then name what you're trying to protect. Is it your reputation, your authority? Next, reconsider the threat. What else could this mean? Is there a piece of the puzzle here I'm missing? And finally, intentionally choose genuine inquiry over escalation. That tiny, split-second gap between a trigger and your reaction, that is exactly where professional humility lives.
Which brings us nicely to Section 4, the humble conversation. Let's talk about accountability and inquiry and how we actually communicate when the stakes are high.
You know, a surprising amount of trust is built not by what you say, but by what you do with someone else's words after they hand them to you. Are you listening to rebut, just silently preparing your defense so you can win the argument the second they take a breath? Or are you listening to understand, truly remaining open to the possibility that they hold missing information you actually need?
And when things inevitably go wrong, we so often mistake accountability for humiliation, but they're completely different. Humiliation attacks a person's identity. It says you are the problem. Accountability addresses the behavior. It says, hey, something happened, let's understand it and repair it. Having grounded self-trust means you can own your impact without collapsing into a shame spiral or lashing out at others.
These 4 moves of humble accountability are a total game changer. Recognize what happened, own the part that belongs to you, repair what needs fixing right now, and learn what to change for next time. It empowers you to just simply say, I missed something, here's what's on me, and here's how I'm going to fix it. No excuses, no self-destruction, just responsibility. That transforms friction into collaborative momentum, and it's a massive operational asset.
Section 5. Authority without ego, or confident humility. I want to specifically address anyone who might be thinking that humility means giving up your decision-making power.
Let's be very clear about this. You do absolutely not need to diminish someone to lead them. Dominance relies on intimidation, unnecessary control, and protecting your status. But authority is about responsibility, clarity, high standards, and stewardship. Confident humility means you can establish strict standards, set boundaries, and make the really hard calls, all while leaving the other person's dignity completely intact. Finally, Section 6. Building a trust culture. Let's look at how we scale this grounded self-trust from a personal behavior into the actual infrastructure of your organization.
Notice how this whole system connects into a compounding chain reaction? Humility creates this internal openness. It's just admitting, hey, I might not have the whole picture. That openness pulls in curiosity, which makes it safe for your team to share better information. Having the full picture leads straight to making better decisions, which ultimately compounds into rock-solid team credibility and trust.
You literally cannot command your team to trust you. It just never works. You can only behave in ways that make trusting you increasingly reasonable over time. It's a simple equation. Trustworthiness multiplied by repeated experience equals a lasting trust culture.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. When bad news pops up, or when a mistake happens, or even when a junior team member pushes back on one of your ideas, what does your reaction teach your team about the true cost of telling the truth? Are you making trust reasonable, or are you making the truth incredibly expensive?
Thank you so much for joining this explainer. I really hope it shifted how you view the incredible power of professional humility as a leadership tool. Make sure to subscribe to Danielle Body at Insight for Alignment and the Inner Lab on YouTube and across all your social channels for more deep dives into mastering human relations. Keep learning, keep growing, and we will see you in the next one.